Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, co-author of Conversations with Top Real Estate Investors Volume 3, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. I am your host for Munira's Musings, which is a show that I host every day. I know you have the choice to make anything happen right now, but thank you so much for tuning in and listening to our show. I am inspired and overwhelmed and excited to bring you this guest today, who is Loren Micheals Harris. I met him a few weeks ago, and he has inspired me tremendously. I hope he does the same for you. Mr. Loren's story is very touching. I'm going to let him tell you. But he is a professional speaker and an author and a coach. And his brand is Loren Micheals Jr. But before we dive in, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am Munira Zahabi. I'm a mother, grandmother, wife, and all of those things. Yes, Mr. Micheals, I'm a grandma.
Wow.
I have the number 9th baby coming soon in February. Grandbaby number 9. I am blessed. I am blessed. And
yes,
so,
you are.
So I am the niche navigator, and I help people, business entrepreneurs and coaches, people who are stuck in their life, find their niche. You can build a business any way you want. If you don't have your niche, or you don't have your focal point, you're going to be lost. I have a compass right there that's going to help you find your niche, and I help you navigate to it. That's all about me. Let's talk about Mr. Loren Micheals Harris. Thank you. Thank you so much for being on my show. I am so excited.
Thank you for having me. I'm just overjoyed to be here today.
And for those of you watching, Mr. Harris is, he has a show of his own. It's called Bathrobe Moments.
Bathrobe Moments.
Bathrobe Moments, and he's inspiring. So, Mr. Harris, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure, no problem. My name is Loren Micheals Harris, as you stated. I live in Naperville, Illinois, suburb, as you know, outside of Chicago. And I have been doing what I do now going on 3 years. And it has been the most incredible, most fulfilling, and joyous experience of my entire existence. And what I love most about it is that I get up every single day and I now live within purpose. Everything that I do is on purpose. I can look over my shoulder to everything I've ever had to endure, the good, the bad, and the ugly in life, and see within each moment the purpose with that moment. So it's a beautiful thing when you can see the full spectrum, everything that you've gone through, everything that you hope to be, and how it all fits right here in the now, allowing us to live within the arms of purpose. There is nothing in the universe that I think is better than living within purpose. I love finally being able to understand and appreciate the mindset of being of service to others. It is the best way to stay out of your own way, is to get out of your own way by trying to do something nice, something kind, something generous for something or someone other than yourself. And oftentimes when we're all caught up in, oh, poor me, and oh, blah, 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 we miss that. When you are the blessing, automatically you receive the best gift of all. And that is the opportunity to now become the blessing. And when you really live within that, like I said, that purposeful moment every day, your life is just the greatest thing ever. Everything begins to make sense. and you realize that all these wonderful things, none of them come from you. They now all come through you. And it has made everything that I've ever lived worth living. I get it now. I absolutely get it. So, you know, I coach people. I speak from the stages. I have online digital training programs. I do workshops. I stage events for my Give Back, which is I'm a supporter and an advocate for foster care and adoption issues. I love speaking to the kids, letting them know my story, sharing my story, listening to their stories, and really just explaining how everything that they're going through is for a reason. And, you know, it's just a wonderful thing. It's just a wonderful thing. And learning from people like you and finding and being attracted, the law of attraction, you know, how it brings us into each other's world. You know, you were chosen for me today. I was chosen for you. And so here we are, because there is a universal promise. There are so many universal promises. And today, what I love most about living within purpose is that all of those universal promises, I see them overlaid above and within my own reality. For instance, the promise that where two or more are gathered, wonderful things can happen. Proof of that is us here today. Wonderful things are happening. It's an amazing journey, an amazing journey. And when you have it, the first thing you want to do is give it away. You want everyone to feel and experience what you're feeling and what you're experiencing. And that's the greatest gift of all.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. You know, I kind of take my clients also on the same route, is because whatever you have learned over the past, you know, whatever path you've fallen to, but if you are now here looking for your niche, all of the gifts, all of the skills that you've acquired is preparing you to find your niche. It's not easy. Sometimes you just have to go deep inside yourself to find your niche, but it will come to you because you have it inside of you.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. I have a different mindset than most when it comes to what you speak of, that niche, which is also synonymous with purpose.
True.
It's that place where you fit perfectly because it was created for you and you only. You know, I tell people all the time that there are only 3 ways for us to ascertain our uniqueness. And of course, we have our fingerprints that we can look at every day and remind ourselves that only, you know, we're the only ones that have these swirls in the entire universe. We also have our DNA, one drop of it anywhere in the universe, and it's traced back to that one person. But unfortunately, both of those reminders, when we go back to where we originated from, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, those go with us. But there is that third option that allows us and our message and our purpose in this world to live on long after our tongues and pens have been silenced. And that is, of course, our stories.
There you go.
Our stories can live on.
Yes.
But only if we find the courage to write a truthful, authentic story based on every truth that we've ever been made to live. And that's where a lot of people, in my opinion, drop the ball. A lot of people feel like, you know, well, if they knew that I've gone through this, if they knew that I once was this person, you know, in order for us to identify and appreciate living in the light, we have to experience some semblance of darkness, because that's the way you realize where you've come.
There you go.
You understand the purpose in the experience, you know. For many decades, I focused on the events of my life. And a lot of those events I didn't have control over. My adoption at just a week old, you know, I didn't crawl out of my crib and say to my birth family, I'm out of here. That decision was made for me. Did it make me feel good about myself later in life when I found out? No. It was the cause of a lot of heartache and whatnot. However, today, It is part of my story. It is one of the truths. So, you know, you have to be able to, when I say look over your shoulder to the life you've already lived, you have to be willing, if you're going to share your story, to share the story in its fullness. You can't give the world, you can't offer the world a version where you leave this out. You embellish that part. You just give it to the world the way the creator or what you believe to be greater than you gave it to you, because that's why it was on purpose. And so, you know, oftentimes the things that we don't like about ourselves or our story or our history, the things that we don't like the most, in many cases, in mine at least, were the things that opened up the doors to a life today that I could have once never dreamed about. So everything that I once thought was keeping me down are the very things today that lift me up and allow me to lift others. And it's a beautiful, beautiful realization. I wish that for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. See, folks, you see what I said? He inspired me the first time I met him. His story, the way he presents is just amazing. Let me ask you this. You said you started this 3 years ago, and you're a speaker, a coach, you know, mentor. You have a legacy that you're building. How did you find your niche?
Well, I didn't go looking for it. What I did was I took a risk just one time, and I made myself available by becoming vulnerable. I stood and I spoke my truths. You know, right now I have a Goalcast video that has just about 5 million views. That video was the video of that first time that I stood and told my story. You know, it sat on my YouTube channel for 2 years. No different than the day I posted it. But it had the ring of truth to it that Goalcast was looking for, and they felt it was a story worthy of sharing with the world. When I stood on that stage that night, I'll be honest, yeah, I felt like running several times. My heart was pounding, I was sweating, I was nervous, and most importantly, I was fearful. I was fearful that I would be rejected. I was fearful that I would be judged, but none of those things happened. And here's why. Because from the very first word to the very last word of my story, I spoke it from a place of truth, and truth is based in love. Truth is not based in fear. And when I spoke for the very first time, my story, based in love, because I was hoping that my story would encourage, would uplift and motivate someone else to tell their story. And that mindset, that intention of being of service to others was all that was needed for the arms of purpose to just gently wrap themselves around me, because they were always there. I just wasn't aware of it. But the moment I started speaking my truth, I could feel it hugging me, squeezing me, encouraging me to continue. And that was, like I said, almost 3 years ago, this coming August. And the doors that decision, that risk, have opened for me, like I said, had I even considered this much, that any part of these things could have happened to me as a result of that, it probably would have scared me away from it, because it would have seemed too good to be true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it just happened. I did not, all the things, and I love telling this part of the story, all the things that, you know, people look at and they go, ooh, wow, almost in a stargazing sense, like I used to do when I saw people do things and accomplish things and become legendary. I used to think that they were the lucky ones, that there was something extra special about them that I wasn't, that I didn't possess.
Mm-hmm.
And today I realized that that wasn't the truth at all. That we all, every single one of us, has that same opportunity. The only difference, bye honey, you look great, by the way. The only difference between any legend, Mother Teresa, Oprah, Nelson Mandela, Martin Luther King, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg. The only difference between those people and you and I is what they do every day with the 24 hours that they get to live, or that they did live. And what I have found to be true is, when you live within purpose, you cannot live or coexist with an accidental mindset. You cannot allow words that deceive to escape your mouth and your spirit. Things like, too good to be true. It sure is weird. Isn't it strange how? Boy, was I lucky. Those are words that deceive. Those are words that condition us into believing that those unique blessings, those answers to our innermost prayers, found us through happenstance. If we don't understand that it was purposeful and see it and embrace it as the blessing it truly is, we won't find that magical, mystical, God-given element which comes next, the greatest of all, which is the opportunity for you to now become that blessing for someone else. Because in order to become the blessing, you first have to receive your blessing.
True.
Because in order to give something away, you first have to embrace it yourself.
Yes.
To be an authority, to speak from a place of truth. And so it seems at first glance as if there's a lot of components, that there's a bunch of things to memorize or figure out, but really there aren't. It comes down to what we choose. And there really, sometimes you hear people say, oh, there's so many choices. There's not. There's the choice you made, and then there's the one you didn't. And I choose today to take every step from a place of love. I find that when I do that, everything falls in place. Everything finds me. I don't have to look for it. When I found my everything, my soulmate, that person that I thought I would never find, I thought I would be alone for the rest of my days. I was 52 years old, and I'd only had one romantic involvement in all my life, and it lasted not even 2 weeks. But I had spent so many decades looking for the right person, when I should have been spending those times becoming the right person. The moment I did that, it was as if I dropped my pen on the ground, and when I picked it up, it was being handed to me by my soulmate. I could say, oh, you came out of nowhere. But that isn't the case. I was chosen, and they were chosen. We were chosen for each other. And that's how it is with everything in my life today. I don't consider myself lucky. I consider myself blessed, because now I can take that and bless someone else. If you think you're lucky, how do you make someone else lucky? Here, let me give you some of my luck. What are you going to do, rub them? No. You bless people by sharing what you know to be true, by taking those things that you don't doubt, not even with one fiber of your being. You know these things to be true, which means they've been downloaded onto your spiritual hard drive, that the jury is not out. The decision has been made, and you took it off the thumb drive, and you allowed the spirit of what is greater than you to place it within your hard drive. You backed it up. You sent it to the cloud. It will always be with you as long as you continue to give it to others. If you don't use it, you will lose it. And so, we live in a day and time where it has never been easier to create a legendary story, to live a legendary life. But you must be consistent, and you must be diligent, and you must be willing to let go of the death grip you have on things from the past that you hold on to for selfish reasons. A reason to say, feel sorry for me. A reason to think, look what happened to me. Within every experience that we've ever had, somewhere in there, no matter how dark it appeared, if you are here today, it means you did the right thing. You didn't fall prey to words that deceive, like some people will tell you, oh, just get over it. Others will say to you, you'll find a way around it. Or maybe someone will say, don't worry, keep going. You'll get over it. No, the only way is because you went through it. When you go into the tunnel of experience, you go in with a G and an O, because you go into it. When you come out the other side, you come out with not only the G and the O, but the necessary R and the necessary W, which changes go into grow. And once you grow, you now are an authority. Now you can show others what you already know. So you have to go so that you can grow in order to know, and then do the best part of all, be of service and show. Those are the 4 components. And you have to do it consistently. It's not the kind of thing, it's not a job where you punch in or out. It is a calling. And when you agree to do it, because when we say to what you believe to be greater than you, allow me to find my way into the hearts and into the minds of my fellow human beings, my family, known as the human race. That is a huge request. It has to be taken seriously, and it has to be honored for the blessing that it truly is, which means you can't check in and check out. No matter how you wake up and what you're feeling like, you have to remember that somewhere in this world, because you have agreed to do this thing, there is an opportunity intersection where someone or some people or some opportunity has found its way there because what is greater than us dispatched it and said, go. When you get there, she will be there waiting, your answer. And so you can't just not be there. Someone will be there looking around going, questioning their higher power, but you promised me there would be someone. So you have to be willing to get up and go all the time. You have to be willing to plant seeds without feeling like you need to stick around and see it germinate or grow. I call that the Johnny Appleseed mentality, where you plant seeds and you keep going. And just trust that the ground that you have planted your seeds in is fertile. But that's always up to the other person, the other people. But as long as you know you're planting great seeds, that's your job. That's all you have to be concerned with. So, if we all could just believe in our own never-ending stories, if we could believe that we have the opportunity to write a classic and not settle for writing a dime store novel. Classics are classics because when they were spoken or written or performed, they were the truth. The truth was at the beginning, in front, the truth was standing beside, and the truth was behind. And the truth is the only thing in this universe that will never, ever, ever change. And it is the only thing that will not change on us. It will always be what it always was, the truth. So we change the game when we commit to not leaving a version of our story, leaving chapters 3 and 12 out, but writing it all. And, you know, a lot of it is, you know, we're only afforded one form of time travel. What is greater than us is the only entity that is allowed to see the future.
True.
But we are allowed to time travel nonetheless. It's called remembering.
Uh-huh.
And when we came here, you know, a lot of people believe that they're working or earning or learning their way towards something. But you're not. Everything that you need to be legendary and leave a legendary mark in this world, you came with it. Before you drew your very first breath, you had every single tool you needed within your tool belt. But because of events in life, sometimes, just like this pen came from the factory intact, there's a cap on a pen for a reason. It's a part of it, especially like a felt tip or a magic marker. If the cap gets separated, the tip gets dried out and the ink cannot flow. So instead of thinking that you're earning or learning your way towards something, if you just think about, it's all about remembering, taking everything you've ever lived, which is this, and everything you are today, which is this, because you hold the ink to write your story. It's still within you. Bring them back together. Remember them. Put them together and make them one. Don't be afraid to look over your shoulder to the life you've already lived. Your greatest content to share with the world is found in the life you're currently living or that you most recently lived. And when we find that courage to look over our shoulder, you know, it's just like a vehicle. Our bodies are vehicles. We rode into this journey in this vehicle, and we will ride out in the same vehicle. Our eyes, the windows to the soul, that's why they're called that. Every vehicle that you've ever been in, the largest window is the one in the front.
True.
That's these. Every one of those windows has a little thing in the middle of it called a rear view mirror. It's not there so that we can stare in it and not see where we're going because we're so constantly looking at what's behind us. It is there to remind us of the importance of remembering where we've been. Because within every event, every pain moment, every joyful moment, there is a seed of purpose, or else you wouldn't have lived it. When you woke up this morning, when I woke up this morning, no matter what we have on our bodies, I guarantee you not one of us took our hand and reached inside of a drawer or a closet with our eyes closed and said, this jacket feels green. You didn't reach to your makeup and say, oh, this feels like the perfect shade of lipstick. You didn't put anything on by accident. You don't put anything into your body by accident. So, therefore, why do we walk through life with the mindset that everything we do, everything we say, everything we mean is anything other than purpose? How can anything be good if it is on accident?
True.
So it's all about purpose. Every one of us has one.
So what about those people who haven't found their purpose? How do they find their purpose?
Seek, and you will find.
Okay.
Knock, and the door will be opened. If you want something, ask for it. But here's what I believe. The reason I believe a lot of people don't find it, don't ask, is because it's not because they don't want it or desire it. Of course they do. It's the manner in which they seek. When we're babies, when we need to be fed, we cry. When we need to be held or changed, we cry. We communicate organically from the very first breath from a place of need. A baby doesn't cry because I want to be fed. A baby doesn't cry because I want to be changed. It's because they need it. When you go to your children or your grandbabies and you hear that cry, you don't say, hey, somebody go see what that baby wants. You say, somebody go see what the baby needs. When your children were headed down any type of road or a good friend and you know it's a road of destruction, you don't say, hey, sit down, I want to talk to you. When it's really something of life or death importance, you sit them down and you say, we need to talk. A person who wants to lose 50 pounds, if they say, I want to lose 50 pounds, chances are they won't lose one. But if they were to only say, I need to lose 50 pounds, so that means I need to shop better, so that I can prepare my foods better, so that I can ingest better quality meals in order to help me lose the weight that I want. For the person who wants a bigger house or a newer car, you just don't say, I want a new car, I want a bigger house. You should say, I need a newer car and I need a better home. So that means I need to reduce my credit card spending by this amount. Or I need an additional income stream in this amount in order to get that home or car that I want. So when you desire change, you desire to find your purpose, I need to be of service to this world. I need to feel like I matter. I need to understand why. Why me? Why this? Why that? I need to fulfill my purpose before I leave this world. I need to. Changes everything. Using the terminology, the word need, automatically connects you to what I believe is a universal urgency. Because when you want something, I want a hamburger, but I'll take a grilled cheese instead. But when you say, oh, I need a hamburger, all of a sudden now you're figuring out where the nearest place is. How much is it going to cost me? You can almost smell it. You start consuming it the minute you say you need it.
So to be a devil's advocate, they say that you shouldn't say, they meaning people of other school of thoughts, they say, I shouldn't say I need, they say I'm going to get it. So changing, not I need to make more money, but I am going to make more money.
Yeah, and you know what? That sounds good, and that lies in and ties in with, I'm just going to speak some affirmations. But you know what? Affirmations, if you don't understand your purpose and the calling means that there is a need in this world that only you can fulfill. That's why I love the word need. You are fulfilling a need, and you're the only person who has that. You're the only person that was sent here with it. And it changes everything because it ties into the responsibility, the honor, which is associated with how important it really is. It's not about, when you say need, it's not just, that's why it has to be used in conjunction with being of service. If it's me, then need is a negative. You're needy.
Okay, I get it.
You're so needy. It's always about her. Marsha, Marsha, Marsha. But when you do it from a place of service, you're fulfilling a need in others and automatically fulfilling the need within yourself. Because another one of the universal promises says, my cup runneth over. We know that as influencers, we can only offer the world what is extra after we have been filled to overflowing. So in order to give, when it says, my cup runneth over, the next line is, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. That's, in my opinion, speaks to being of service. You know why? Because when I give away my excess, my extra, goodness and mercy comes to me through those people that I am of service to. They are the followers. Look at social media. How many followers do you have? How many likes? How many this? They're always called. Jesus had 12 of them. He started with 12 disciples. They were following him. But they brought with them goodness and mercy because they were there. Where is he? You know, and that's just a story. But every story, whether it's biblical, Indian folklore, whether it's hieroglyphics, slave stories, any story that is in this world, and you can say, and the moral of the story is, it was placed there. Aesop's fables, nursery rhymes. They all are clues to being of service, of being careful about how you tread softly. For instance, if you were a Christian and believer, the Bible for them, for us, for those believers, that mindset, it will say don't be lukewarm. Either be hot or cold, but stay out of that danger zone, some of everything. Farmer's Almanac will say, don't put one foot on either side of the fence. You're gonna, you know what, right down the middle. Commit to one side or the other. Be one way or the other. Be consistent, be diligent. And these clues are everywhere for everyone because we all have the same opportunity, the same 24 hours. It doesn't matter what time zone you're in. You still have 24 hours. Why don't people somewhere else get 25 hours and then someone over here get 22 hours? No, because we come with the even playing field. It's not stacked. When people say that ladder of success, I believe that mindset is made for us. It is created for those who end up giving everything they believe in over to the building of someone else's dreams. There's always someone above you blocking your view of how much further there is to go. How much further? Oh, not far. You got to believe you can't see past them. There's always someone beneath you, breathing up, wanting to be where you're at on that ladder of success. I use this right here in my coaching to prove that. Because when we climb that ladder, what this mindset, ladder of success, Google it. They will show you people climbing this ladder and they're perfectly coiffed. Their hair is perfect, beautiful earrings, pearls, business suit. In the clouds, looking up, smiling. But what they don't show you is that there's always someone smarter, someone faster, someone more talented, someone richer, and they're above you. So what is she really staring at? I'll tell you what. She's staring at someone's backside. And then you wonder, why am I always getting crapped on? I say, this is the way to go. Turn that ladder of success this direction, horizontally, because now your feet will be on the ground, hence the term grounded. Now, when you do what we're told, put your best foot forward, you can create some momentum. You can go somewhere. If you put your best foot forward on this ladder, you can't go anywhere because the rung is in front of you. Where are you going to go? So you turn around backwards on the ladder and you put your best foot forward, you're jumping off the ladder. Turn the ladder this way and build your own dream. Because now there's no one in front of me. There's no one underneath me. Everyone is beside me, and I can see every one of these rungs represents a season in my life. I see why everything had to be and how it led to right here where I stand in the middle. And I can now look to everything I hope to be. And it all starts to make sense. Because now I am building my dreams based in my calling, my purpose in this world. Changes everything. That ladder, up and down, conditions us to believe that we are in competition with each other, above or below. We're not. When living within purpose, we are only in competition with one entity, and his name is time, because we're going to run out of it. All of us. No human has ever outraced time. So if you really want to find your purpose, if you really want to live a legendary life and leave a classical message with your story, then turn that ladder horizontally. Put your best foot forward and take a universal leap of faith and create the only momentum that makes anything legendary. And that is taking everything you ever were and everything you hope to be with you in everything you do, every decision, every plan, every thought, every word. Our words, our message is comprised of words. Words come from thoughts and feelings. And thoughts and feelings come from two organic places only. They either come from an original thought of love or fear. Everything that starts from fear shuts down, darkens, caves in, steals from, closes up. Everything of love goes out. A fist is fear. Fingers are closed in. Offering something to the world, hands open, love. What does a person do when they're in a situation at gunpoint? Hey, I don't want any trouble. You're showing love. If they got a gun or something, then you go, hey, what do you think's gonna happen?
You're right.
It is not as hard as people make it out to be. You don't have to figure out, is that person really out for my good? I never would have thought she would have said that or done that. Well, when you send everything out from a place of love, when things start coming towards you from some place other than love, you're going to recognize them. Just like words that deceive, if you quit using them, you'll begin identifying when people are using them against you. Everything starts here. Love and truth go hand in hand. So when you come from a place of love, you cannot help but live within your truth. And when you live within your truth, you are living within the only thing in the universe that's never going to change. And it's never going to abandon, betray, or change on you. People will. Family, friends, finances, hairstyles, clothing styles, all those things will change. We spend so much time on all those things that change and spend so little honing and embracing the only thing that will not change. Those who become masters, those who become legends and legendary walkers through this earth, through this world. There are people who understand one thing, because that's all you need is that one thing. Start with the truth. You got it all. And you can't start with someone else's truths. You can go and sit in front of the best speakers in the world every day of your life, listening to their truths. You can pick up every how-to book, work with every great coach, and listen to their story of how they lived their truth. But until the day comes when you decide to face your own, embrace your own, and speak your own, nothing will change. Nothing will change.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
A lot of lessons here. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Really, really.
It's my honor. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You are most welcome. So all of you, this has been an awesome segment. I am excited about this man. He is my hero. He is going to be my mentor soon. But here's the thing. You have it inside of you. Speak it out. Speak the truth, right? And once you find that, you can take on the world. He said you're going to have to go through the tunnel of life. Tunnel of life, you have to go in order to grow. What was the third one?
So you go, then you grow, now you know,
No.
then you show.
Yes. And there you go. The thing is, we have it inside of us. Don't struggle. Let's seek inside of us to find our truth, to find our purpose in life. And I love the fact that you are living with purpose, right? You are living with purpose. That's an amazing, amazing message that you have. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure.
For those of you who are watching, please share, subscribe, and like this video, because this has been one of the longer ones, but it's full of lessons. I could hear Mr. Harris speak forever. When I heard you the first time, I came home and I said, he has changed my thinking.
Oh, thank you.
And you had a great impact on me, which was, not a lot of people have it, but you did. So there you go.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
People, thank you so much for watching. And that's it for today. Thank you, and over and out.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche. Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group called Navigate to Your Niche.